Well, good evening, folks. It's June 6th, 2026. That's right, it's the sixth anniversary. Been a full 6 years now since the Forrest Fenn treasure was found. And I don't think anything happened. Fun and Answers remains uh, unhappening. It's not happening. uh, all the build up to maybe having some special thing happen here, since 6 years have passed since the big announcement that we had. Um, and as of this hour, no new big announcements about the treasure hunt. I did get my hair cut. I went for the extra short haircut. What do you think? Look how shiny that is. Man, I mean, I don't dare go out. I've got the shiny head there, see? So could cause some problems. Yeah, I can't say I'm disappointed because there wasn't anything new come out so far today on the Forest Fenn treasure hunt. Only because I didn't really expect anything to come out today from Shiloh or any of the family members over there in New Mexico. I figured as much. I figured there'd be nothing. And so here we are, 6 years later, and still a lot of people searching for answers. One person came out this week and said that they visited Santa Fe again, and they're fulfilled in their journey. They've gotten all the answers they want. So we'll see if they put out another video in the future. A lot of people, it seems like there has been this movement of a lot of people wanting to go revisit their solve ideas and their solve areas. And um, I don't know if that's a good thing, reliving the experience you had that ended in a treasure hunt that ended the way it did. Um, I guess for some people that can bring some closure. For me, whenever I go back to my search area, I try to figure out what it was that I missed, why it was that I didn't find the treasure, why it was that this Jack guy found the treasure. Um, since I have nothing to compare it to, since I have no, uh, since I have nothing to compare it to, uh, as far as an actual solve, it's just you know it bothers you because you feel like maybe there was something you missed or maybe something you did wrong or maybe the guy just didn't like you. But I mean, it brings up those memories of thinking about what it was you might not have done that would have gotten you, closure, the prize, or whatever. um, so I wasn't on last night because I basically, was waiting for today to see if anything new would come out. And since we didn't have anything new come out, I was, like I said, I was going to go live to see if anything happened today, and apparently nothing happened. Uh, People are moving on with their plans to have Finbury, or it's now called Finbury, if you will. And I guess there was a show last night about Shiloh and this limited group of people that he communicates with. And several of those people were in the chat, and it's like, oh, here's a person announcing they got a message from Shiloh today. Oh, here's another person announcing they got a message from Shiloh today. Um, and then Ben reads his message. Did any of those people actually get a message from Shiloh? I didn't see anybody hold up their phone to the screen or anything like that and show the actual message that they got. It's kind of like back when K-Pro said she was getting stuff from Finn, but no real proof other than their word. It's just their word. No real proof of anything. We just can have the word that it happened. Yeah. I put a picture up at the beginning of this video tonight that I created using AI, and I feel like we're all going to be skeletons and bones before we ever get any fun and answers or closure in this. I put the six on the birthday cake, and I guess I'll revise that AI generated photo every so often to update the birthday cake. Um, and I did get taken to task in the comments this week about my proclamation that I suggested that I was at the forefront of creating songs about Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt. Um, yeah, well, I mean, I did. A few other people did after I did. A lot of people were doing AI music before me, but I don't know how many people actually did it in the genre of Forrest Fenn. And you know, uh, skirting the law, if you will. But yeah, I mean, if you're offended by that, I'm sorry. I just mentioned that I know a few people that I think I inspired, you know, and if it's not the same people you inspired, then I think we're both right. Um, let's see. We've got Luli Bell. So glad you could stop by, Luli. We got a pretty small audience tonight. There must be an announcement going on somewhere on another show, perhaps. Uh, pretty small crowd here for the old Saturday night option. Uh, and like I said, the fact that I got six people watching on the sixth, well, maybe Bill's live. I don't know. Well, I know he's live. I know he's alive. I mean, maybe he's doing a show. I don't know. If I don't have anything or anybody here to converse with, I mean, Lou Lee said hi and hi back. It's kind of like, well, I guess I'll just call it good. I'm just call it. I'll just like, I'll just be like Shiloh, not even acknowledge that the day passed, not even acknowledge that it happened. Um, but it's a far cry from where we were, 6 years ago to what people are feeling right now. And well, there's the hoof and the bunghole. Yeah, got a pretty small crowd tonight. It's almost 10 minutes in, and I don't even have the top three out yet. So it's gonna be kind of rough for tonight's show. Uh, but no profound announcements that I've seen in the last 2 days, and so it's status quo. The only thing that I really talked to somebody in a Discord uh, voice channel this week, and apparently the judge doesn't like Forrest Fenn, and since the judge doesn't like Forrest Fenn, uh, she's going to wait to make her ruling on the very last day to make a ruling, and just despite somebody that's been dead for 6 years. That's according to a third party that's been following this last lawsuit that's out there. As soon as I mean, here's the thing: as soon as this lawsuit gets closed, there'll be another one because that's the plan all along. We'll just we'll just tell everybody we can't say anything because the ongoing litigation, and it started with Barbara Anderson, then it was this other guy, then it was this other guy, and it was this other guy. Somebody was trying to say, oh, well, the reason this can't close is because they haven't collected all the legal fees from McCracken. And once they get all that as part of the estate, it's in your benefit to wait because you'll have all the McCracken money. Oh, yeah, sure. You're going to give us, you're going to give that true solver all that money that you got from McCracken for suing you. I think Carl's already probably spoken for that pot. I mean, that's his pot, if you will. And, so he's going to take that. Well, there's MJ and Nomadic. So we do have a top 4.5 now. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I said I wasn't disappointed because I didn't expect anything. But I am disappointed because we should be by now moving on with all of our lives, and if there's any additional information that's a fun or an answer, I think we should have gotten it by now. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, I'm not disappointed because I didn't expect anything to happen, but I'm disappointed because something should have happened and it hasn't. And I don't, it's the lawsuits. It's always going to be something. It's always going to be something. Um, the Who says the true solver ain't getting jack or diddly squat. Yeah, it's that's the whole tragedy of the thing is that the true solver out there is lost their treasure. They lost their treasure to Jack. Lost it to Jack and Posey and all the other people that got involved in this thing. Well, I kind of left my show the other night with a cliffhanger, and the cliffhanger was basically the question. Did Forrest Fenn put together his treasure hunt because he was wanting to give away uh, something to somebody and have this great treasure hunt that would last 10 years or however long it would last? Well, you got to remember in 2010, he was coming off of a few rough times in terms of the legal community and law enforcement. And so there is the question of, how did he feel about having his antiquity interest uh, investigated to see if he was a grave robber? And the question then becomes, well, what could you do? What could you do in order to really infuriate the people that came after you? Well, you could write a letter and you could call it the mother of Indiana Jones, right? Um, you could host a High Plains Paleo conference in your hometown and invite all the academics and law enforcement people and all the people that don't think that private individuals would should have uh, the right to excavate their own kivas or to do excavating outside of the academic process. In other words, uh, there's an ongoing feud between academia and the people that want to own artifacts. And academia, you know, they go crazy every time somebody moves an old object from where it was in situ. This is why I don't understand why Forrest. Well, I guess Forrest wouldn't be mad about Jack moving something that was in situ, because that's what he did all the time. But um, the question becomes, how was Forrest Fenn seen around 2009, right before his treasure got started? And you have to think that maybe weighing on his mind was this whole uh, debate or conversation or whatever you have with academia over the rights of private individuals to, well, let's just say, dig. And I did some research on this week, uh, and by and large, other people that were quote unquote pot hunters, if you will, uh, gave a pretty high level of respect to Forrest Fenn. And there were some academia people like George Friesen, who Forrest was, I guess, cozy with. I don't know what the word for this is, or accepted by, maybe. But then you have some other people. And primarily those people are people that are in the state of New Mexico and who are charged with public lands. And you can there then the Santa Fe New Mexican and other sources, there are some pretty lengthy articles about this, uh, and you add on to that the legal thing, and that's why I brought the question up on my very end of my show. Is the reason I brought that question up is you know, if you could encourage an extra 30,000 pot hunters out there, um, and you've been really taking taking it hard by law enforcement, who's claimed that you picked up things from places you shouldn't have, and by and large, I actually don't think Forrest Fenn picked up anything outside of a place where he had permission to go and and search for it. Uh, I think he was uh, pretty avocational about his hobby. In other words, he would go up to somebody and say, "Hey, would it be okay if I go out here and look for something?" Uh, the state of New Mexico, I think, was not very happy about his ownership of San Lazaro, and my pivot on this is that I think one of the most important things to Forrest Fenn in his life was his uh, interest in discovering how things were done. And this could be how a awl was made, how corn was stored in a kiva, how certain items were made out of, you know, uh, bison or raw materials. I think he had a true fascination with discovering and amusing himself with finding something and then trying to figure out how it fit into the Paleo Plains, how it fit into the pre Columbian people, and then work up a story or a projected use for something. And there are very common items in this genre, arrowheads, but each one can be a mystery in itself. Where was the flaking stone from? What, at what time period did get flaked? For what purpose was it used to hunt? What was it? What animal was it used to hunt? And I think he relished in sitting around and visiting with his non-academic friends about these things that he had. And you listen to him tell his story about how he authenticated the peace pipe that uh, was in Sitting Bull's hands, and more than likely in Sitting Bull's hands around the time of um, the battle, if you will, in Wyoming. And the I think all of this was his life's passion. There's not too many people that I know that would read in detail the journals of some soldier who was witness to history, and perhaps the only witness to that history, and then search out or seek a way in which he could get to that property where that happened to see if he could find evidence of it. In other words, this stagecoach was robbed, and it was robbed by this creek. And the mystery and the history says that there was a strong box, and that when the law enforcement people showed up, the only thing left was the strong box with a bunch of holes in it. But they never found the loot, right? And I think he was the inquisitive guy who wanted to go out and search and see if this history was written correctly. or if there was anything there that might contradict uh, what the narrative was and what the story was of certain things. Uh, so anyway, looks like Zozo's here, rounding out the top five. MJ says, "I think D-Day was Dwight David Day, as in Eisenhower." The Hoof says, "Long before he owned San Lazaro, when he was in the Air Force, I heard that he would use the planes to scout canyons and then would go back into Jeep. I doubt if he asked for permission on those raids." Well, I don't know. Who's to say that wasn't on government land? If you're in the military, you know, um, is the commanding officer really going to complain about you going out onto the hinterlands of the base? I don't know. It looks like the hoof is gone. Wow, that was the fastest deletion I've ever seen. Very fast deletions. Pa-ding, 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 pa-pow, pa-pow. Wow, that was fast. Well, anyway, um, I don't know. I remember listening. Okay, so Forrest Fenn had this friend that was back in the United States, and I can't for the life of me remember the guy's name. He was somebody he knew from Texas, back in Texas. And there's these audio recordings that, if you were really involved in this Forrest Fenn treasure hunt, that you could listen to his tape recording messages to his friends back home. And in one of those tape recordings, back to his, and it might have been Bill, it might have been Griggs, I don't know, might have been Bill Griggs, I don't know. But anyway, he would speak the guy's name, and he would say, "Well, I heard of this spot up just north of Belton, and there's been some of our friends out onto that property, and I'm pretty sure I could get permission to go out there if you wanted to go out there when I get back to the states, and I think that'd be a good place to go look and see what we could find and da 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 da." So my point of that is that if you listen to some of those things that he recorded, it wasn't like, "Hey, Bill, I think we could sneak onto this guy's property. I just flew my plane over it, and there's a whole lot of shit down there that we need to go get." It seemed like those weren't the kinds of. But again, we only get the curated information that Chase Creator wanted us to hear, and maybe he was creating a narrative, if you will, and trying to give us the impression that he was uh, well, let's say a get permission first kind of guy, uh, when in fact he never did any of that. So, uh, I bought into the whole story pretty well. But anyway, well, there's Sweet Pea. MJ's here. But anyway, I guess what I'm saying is, I think I think the case can be made that he had an axe to grind with a few communities, and that leads us to, I'm just going to say it. It's just all created in order to get 30,000 more people out there looking for pots or stuff or things or a treasure chest. And I'm not saying that that's what happened and that's what it was to begin with, but I think over time it might have morphed into something different. It might have had an original purpose of being one thing, and then it just led to being something else. And right now the status quo, this what it led to was this June 6th announcement of this chest being found, and then from there the Nooker group and those people, just brought us Jack, and either photoshopped some stuff, or maybe it was actually in Santa Fe. I don't know, but the story just didn't make sense, and many people don't believe the story, and so we have what's left. Today was a fabulous day, according to this shy guy. Uh, Lily's trying to make some dinner. What's for dinner? Now, this is where Lily needs to go to the window and put her hand over the window and pull the curtains open and say, "Well, tonight we're going to have some black eyed peas. We got some grits a going, and it looks like fried chicken. Uh, or burgers. I can't afford. Yeah, it's getting so bad I can't even afford protein anymore. Uh, that's when it gets bad. But I don't know. I guess I chose to put out my was this all just a fib? Was this all just a folly? Was it a misdirected idea that went afoot? Or was it really a treasure hunt with some nefarious ending? There is a case to be made. There is a case to be made. Uh, based upon articles, based upon what the guy was probably thinking in 2009. Um, but I'm just saying that there's food for thought there. Uh, I personally don't I personally don't think that was what happened, but it could be. Yeah, I mean, it could have been. I'm just saying it could have been. Zozo's already retracted. Uh, Lily Bell has been out doing some mining. Yes. Uh, Zozo wants to know if the screwworm has made it this far north. Well, we don't have any cattle, and I'm all hat. So, whether the screwworm gets this far north, really, it's not going to affect my herd because I don't have one. So, anyway, um, Lily Bell was talking about her turquoise haul. Uh, so, but I mean, this screwworm thing is a real thing. It could, I mean, if you think beef prices are high now, just if it gets into the North American herd in any great numbers, you all are going to be eating finely textured, lean, lab grown meat because it could wipe out everything. Zozo had a good question. Oh, about the screwworm. Yeah. Well, okay, so I covered the was this just a feint, a fake, uh, a a fool's errand? Uh, the question is the does does the fact that the longer this goes on make you feel like it wasn't real to begin with? That's kind of the question. Based upon the status quo, based upon what we know right now, and the longer this goes on, does it make you feel more inclined to think that this was some sort of project, or do you become more endeared to the 9 mile hole solution? As far as not having any more new information. In other words, does the absence of information to refute the current narrative, the absence of anything new, does that confirm for you what's been said? Now, certainly to the AI bots, it confirms it, confirms it. But to the average person, does the lack of additional further detail and the additional time considering we're supposed to have fun and answers, make you more skeptical or less skeptical? Well, I mean, I think the answer is pretty self evident to that question. I think as more time goes by without explanations, I think people become, more and more and more skeptical about the original thesis. And so, I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling on because honestly, I didn't think I'd have to go live tonight with the show. I thought I'd be fondling some pre-Columbian artifacts right now. I thought maybe I'd be holding the real treasure chest. The prize patrol would have pulled into my driveway and handed me the box and then drove off and said, "It's yours. See ya. Have a safe." And I'd say, "Have a safe trip back," and it'd all be done. But that's you know possibility. Well, somebody's had the balls enough so to say, I think it was a study on human stupidity. Stupidity. Uh, well, there's 300,000 of us stupid people, according to one estimate, that got duped. Um, or do you mean that it was the stupidity was one person thinking that he could put out a fake treasure and get away with it? I mean, was that what you were saying? That yeah, I put out a fake treasure. Got about 300,000 people out traipsing around on public land. Uh, hmm. I wonder how the Parks Department likes that. Well, they rifled through everything in my house. If you've read my book, The Thrill of the Chase, I kind of go over this with this Sarah Parkhurst character who rifled through the belongings of Roswell Fenton. So this is not a new narrative. I introduced this narrative in the book The Thrill of the Chase, uh, and Roswell Fenton had his life turned upside down 3 times by an FBI agent. I mean, in the book The Thrill of the Chase, and then he sent a bunch of treasure hunters up to her cabin in Ranchester, and they ransacked it, looking for the treasure. That was a subplot in my book. Somebody ought to write a book about that. I got this guy. He wants to buy my. He wants to buy my Indian kiva that's on my property. This would make a great book. Somebody ought to write this book. The story is about a family that owns a kiva, and there's a investor or somebody like Maxwell Broadbent from the Codex, if you will, and he wants to buy this property because it has all kinds of antiquities on it, and he's got the deal already written out, right? And all has to be done is signed by the 5 children of the people that own the property. And then you have the matriarch of the family that comes in at the last minute and says, this is our family land. Do we really want to sell this to this pot hunter over here? And they start recognizing each other again, and it brings them together. And they decide that they don't want to sell the land, even though they all could use the money. I mean, you could have one of them be a gambler. You could have another one of these people be a destitute alcoholic looking for their next drink. Another one of the family members might own a construction company and they're about ready to go bankrupt because they lost all of their equipment in a flood. I mean, I think it'd be a good book. Somebody ought to write this book. Uh, Zozo said the Thrill of the Chase was a social experiment covering many aspects of the human intelligence. Well, maybe it was the retelling of the Bible story of Job. I one time said that. Uh, uh, Social experiments, yeah, all kinds of theories. But what was the thesis? What was the thesis of a social experiment? Forrest probably didn't need. So, in other words, I guess what you're saying is this, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe Forrest had gotten tired of trying to figure out what people were thinking, back when they were making, the arrowhead. Maybe he got tired of trying to figure out what that bone was from. Maybe he got tired of all that in his old age. And he decided, I want to see what people do in real time. And maybe he did get tired of maybe he did get tired of trying to explain the past, and he got excited about trying to see how people actually behave, because maybe his idea was, if I can see how these people actually behave searching for a treasure, I might be able to better understand the books of Frank Dobie and those tales of Texas. You might have stumbled onto something right here. Honestly, this social experiment thing, because if I remember right, I read an article that was written in the Texas Monthly Magazine in 2000 and something, and at the time he was very interested in Frank Dobie, and he was very interested in these books like Coronado's Children, and maybe he did actually take on the idea of, wow, here's an author that wrote all these stories about people that search for treasure. I wonder what would happen if they had the opportunity to look for treasure again today. I wonder if instead of speculating about how, these two could keep a secret if one of them was dead, he'd do it in real life. He was caught up in the moment of, I'm tired of trying to figure out how people behave from the past. Let's just put something out there and see how they behave today. So you might be onto that whole idea of a social experiment, and that he wanted something new to study, and his subject was not the old people and the bones, but the people that were alive and how they would react to treasure. And this would then fulfill his journey that he had taken into Coronado's Children, Frank Dobie's, storybooks of Tales of Texas, and I think another one of his books had something to do with rattlesnakes and all this kind of genre. Well, there's Jeff. How's Jeff doing tonight? Zoza says, I also think many authors were involved, because there are a lot of authors that were involved. Well, that's true. If you do go to the Thrill of the Chase, he says important literature, right? And then he lists off a few authors and cites some of their work, and uh, he did make a direct shout out in the book The Thrill of the Chase to Evetts Haley, mentioning, I think, Evetts Haley's bride or something. And you also have to remember that he was a founding member of the Westerners uh, in uh, the uh, in the days in which he didn't go to college in Lubbock. So I mean, he's a founding member of the Westerners, and uh, you got to remember he got the Rounders Award uh, for his. I wonder if getting the Rounders Award from the Department of Agriculture uh, made him feel pretty good, because he'd been, harassed by the other departments in the state. So I mean, he had to be pretty proud about getting an award from another group of people that were state employees, right? Anyway, Oh, Jeff's in Reno. Did you go to Reno, Johnny Cash? Hey, if you're in Reno, be aware of Johnny Cash. Bad things happen in Reno. There's the kid, 8200. How's the kid doing tonight? Oh, yeah, I think we're all just kidding ourselves, thinking that there's going to be some new fun and answers. Okay, so I'm trying to put together a poll, and this might be the last action of tonight. I'm asking the question. The question is this: since nothing happened on the end of the sixth year post find, now going into the seventh year, um, the question now arises: when do you think we'll ever get fun and answers? And I guess I could put the poll up to have never. Uh, we already have fun and answers. Uh, After the lawsuits are all over with, when hell freezes over, I guess these are a few of the options I'm considering for this poll. Um, I'm just wondering, are there any other possibilities? Any other possibilities when we might get fun and answers? I mean, I'm just because the thing is, if not now, then when? It's been a whole 6 years have passed. So I mean, if not now, then when is kind of the question. Uh, Nomadic Madman saying 6 to 9 months. How many months ago did I hear that? Yeah. The kid is saying, "Oh, we're going to get the fun and answers after the lawsuits." Well, earlier I pointed out that I think the lawsuits will exist in perpetuity. I don't think they'll ever be over. I don't think probate is ever going to close. And there's these people that say, "Oh, we're going to get fun and answers when probate closes." I have it on a few sources that said that the treasurer was outside of in an LLC outside of the estate. So why would you have anything to do with that? Yeah, I suppose that the trustees of the trust, you know, have certain guidelines, but I suppose they could distribute trust assets in a manner that's not common. you know, but you would think, and the fact that if you go to the state of New Mexico and look up the property records, you know, oh, you're gonna get the Fenda mansion in the state. Well, it's in a trust, I suppose. Insofar as the trustees wanted to give it to somebody, they could. But do you realistically think that the trust is going to give you the house? I don't think so. Anyway, MJ Enzer says it's never going to end. Well, that was one of the poll worthy options. It'll never end. Oh, Zuzu said, I've been a personal rep for an estate. Probate is over. It doesn't go this long. Well, if a good lawyer attached the Fenn estate assets to their lawsuit, there's a possibility that the probate court has ruled that the estate cannot be probated until that court case is ruled upon. But I don't think Forrest Fenn's estate ever required the probate court, because a pretty smart person one time showed me how these trust documents work. And if you have a trust, your estate doesn't go to probate, because you've written up and you have given private instructions on who can manage your assets after you're dead, called a trustee. And if you have a trust with the trustees, you don't even go to probate. The only thing that goes to probate is anything that you didn't have named in your trust. Okay, so you're going to tell me that Forrest Fenn did not have, well, he didn't actually need, Forrest Fenn did not need to have his treasure named in a trust, because it was supposedly found before he died. And so it was assets that were no longer in his possession. So this whole probate BS, he attested to uh, certain things on that June 6th, right? And so if that's found property that he gave to somebody, it's no longer his. See, they tied up all these ends pretty tight, pretty neatly. They wrapped this thing up in a pretty neat bow, so you couldn't get at it. You know. Uh, Zozo's pointing out that there is a S corps, certainly a corporation where you have shareholders, uh, can pass assets to from a private entity to a corporate entity, and then people share in the profits of that. So yeah, there's other structures that you can create in order to preserve generational wealth. So that's a possibility. It's the never-ending treasure, and with it, the never-ending story. Larry's, hey, okay, Larry, how's it going? David, when was the last time you seen Forrest mention fun? Hoof was there. I believe Forrest said hey to him. When was the last time you seen Forrest mention fun? Yeah, he used the word fun in his book, uh, or the word, I thought that was funny in the book on a number of occasions. I honestly, I don't think I ever had Forrest Fenn use the word fun in front of me. If he did, I don't recall. And then the last part of your question was Forrest saying hey to Hoof. That's pretty clever. Pretty clever. Uh, how about this? Uh, Beer for my horses, whiskey for me. Uh, what if there is no legal issues? Paraphrased. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Zozo brings up a really good point here. Isn't it highly interesting that Forrest Fenn said there are no? What if there are no legal issues? And all we've heard for the last 5 years is that, oh, there's legal issues. That's the comment. So far, that's the comment of the night right there. That's the comment of the night. Thank you for bringing that back to my attention, where he said that what if there are no legal issues? To put that comment back into context, though, I think he said that in the context of private land, public land, leased land, uh, Indian land. So I think that comment was actually in the context of when people were wondering what type of land the treasure was hidden on. And I think that's what prompted, you know, the legal issues. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but it has been a number of years since this treasure hunt ended. And it's been even more years since that statement was put out in front of us to parse out and look into and dissect and try to figure out what it was all about. So, anyway, uh, the Hoof said somebody got told to hose me down with a fire truck. Well, I will remind you that fire truck is one of the few words in the dictionary that starts with a F and ends in UCK. Okay. Asterisk over the next 6 years. Did he? He loved to use double entendres all the time. Ooh, I guess. That's like saying that uh, something's hot. Hey, there's Jeep Girl Jody. How's your day been? Did you get any fun and answers? Did you come here for fun and answers? Well, we might have some fun, but I don't have any answers. Uh, there's the everybody saying hi. Everybody in the room say hi to Jody, please. Let's see if we can get everybody to say hi. Okay, that's pretty cheap pandering to my audience. Oh, did you see my white leg? Look at that. I got farmer tan. Look at my arm. Look at my leg. Look at my dirty socks too, by the way. Hey, it's a good thing I actually put on some shorts. Uh, boy. All right. Well, what else is there? Well, technically, there's still 3 hours left in the day where I'm at. 4 hours where fun and answers could arrive from. I mean, was there anything new put up on eBay for today's festivities? I brought a cake. Uh, anyway, the nomadic madman's asking, what else is there? I don't think there's anything. I mean, I don't think a real solve will ever be presented by Chase Inc.'s leaders. I don't think anything real is ever going to come out of that. Uh, oh, Jeep Girl actually saw my travel video to the Spanish Peaks. Yeah, there's some pretty nice lakes on that Highway 12. What was there? Monument Lake, I think, was up there, and uh, it looked like those would be some pretty good camping and fishing areas, for sure. I sorry, I did not make it all the way up to Vale. Uh, I had to get home, and so I kind of turned and headed to Denver instead of going on up that way and then coming past Vale and around. That would have been another probably hour and a half. And anyway, so I just I think that would have been Glenwood Springs maybe on that route. But yeah, that's pretty country. Really, some pretty nice spots in there to look at. Uh, those back roads of Colorado have some interesting sights to be seen in terms of housing. Oh, but I mean, I saw all these turnoffs where you could actually go up into the Spanish Peaks, and I'm sure those back roads would even give you some more seclusion than the actual highway. Um, but uh, I'm just saying that the Kentucky Fried Chicken in Walsenburg, Kentucky Fried Chicken in Walsenburg, two thumbs down for that one. Oh, you live near Glenwood Springs. I had a goal to get to Glenwood Springs on that my trip to New Mexico, and then coming back to Colorado. I guess I slept in too long. I guess at the hotel the night before, and um, then yeah, I slept in too long and wasn't willing to stay another day overnight. Oh, we've got Zozo Rocks queuing up the old music tonight. Cool. Isn't there something famous in Glenwood Springs that has to do with Molly Brown? Or was that another town? No, I can't remember. Carl's Jr. in Walsenburg, uh, but the Whataburger is the best. I will agree with Bill on this. I think Whataburger makes probably the best burger. And I was in where was I at that I had a oh, there's a Whataburger that's really close to the Heritage Auction facility in Irving, Texas. And I ate at that Whataburger. And I went in and actually sat down and ate. And I could not believe how many Whataburgers they were selling at lunch that day. Man, those people that were making them, wow. I was impressed. They were putting out that food like nobody's business. Yep, it's an interesting geological feature as well from the geology of it. Yes, uh, Molly Brown was a character indeed, uh, and you see, Molly Brown has ties to uh, where she met her husband in that town, and then also back to Denver. And I can't think of that name of that town right now. Um, it's up there by the turquoise lake. Well, we have a birthday in the room. No, he turned 36 and bought a new car. Well, anyway, we have a birthday today. So happy birthday. Cheers. Well, Bill can see sand dunes from where he's sitting, but Sarah Palin can see Russia. Leadville, Sweet Pea. Thank you. Yes. Molly Brown, Leadville. Could it have been the home of Brown? If you lived in Denver in the 80s, there was a restaurant called Baby Doe's. It was supposed to be bad on the matchless, based on the matchless mind. Um, yeah, the mining history of Colorado is really extensive in terms of, people that, made that. Just like many of these outlaws of the Old West. I mean, Belle Star, if you will, uh, Big Nose Kate, uh, uh, Baby Doe Jane, I mean, or Baby Doe Tabor. I mean, there was all of these outlaw mistresses that went along with these other things. Well, there used to be a restaurant in Denver that if you wore a tie into the restaurant, uh, instead of having a full length tie, you may have a tie that would come down about this far. And I don't know if I can remember the name of the steakhouse restaurant in Denver, where if you walked in wearing a tie, they would go ahead and clip your tie. And uh, I don't remember what the name of that place was, but I know that they would clip your tie off. I'm pretty sure this was in Denver. It could have been in Las Vegas, though, but I'm pretty sure it was Denver. The Hoof is saying this is the Trail Dust Steakhouse. And Jeep Girl is confirming that this is the Trail Dust. Well, let's just say when I went to a training class in Denver, Colorado, when I was learning to be a sales rep for AT&T, we went to this Trail Dust place, and everybody was in on this except for me. And so it kind of goes something like this. Hey, we know this great place. They serve steaks and you've got a per diem, and you can get if you don't have lunch today, you can use your per diem on this steakhouse meal. And it's really good food, steak, baked potato, steak fries, the whole bit. Um, we're trying to get a group together to go. We'll meet like in the lobby, but we gotta go. Well, everybody else went back because they were in on it. Everybody else went back, took their tie off, suit coat, put on some khakis. I show up, I go, well, I guess I can just take my suit coat off and not go back up to my room. Yeah, it got me pretty good. I really like that tie, man. I really kind of, oh, it was one of my better ties. Anyway, uh, oh, it had a kid slide from the second story to the dance floor. It probably did. I was so traumatized by losing my virginity. I mean, my tie. that I was so traumatized. I don't think I remembered much of the rest of the night. Uh, it's Happy 666 Day. Yeah, sometimes you have to check them out. Oh, there was another restaurant called Chili Pepper. I don't know if we ever went to that one. Well, just so you know, in Topeka, when I was in college, there was a place called Baby Dolls. Now, while they did serve some food there, that was really not the main attraction. Oh, man, I've got to snort. I'm starting to laugh like Chrissy Snow. starting to laugh like Chrissy. Anyway, so I read this online today. Did you know that after Suzanne Summers got in a contract battle with the producers of Three's Company about her salary, and hence they brought in the new girl? And in that interim, before they got the new girl, they were given all the jokes that were supposed to be for Chrissy Snow to Ralph Furley. And instead of having, the banter between like Susan DeWitt or John Ritter and her leading to the joke, they had the joke be between Mrs. Furley and Mr. Furley. And so they were given all these deadpan lines that were written initially for the Chrissy Snow character. They were giving them to Don Knotts so he could get the laughs. And I didn't know that until I read this about Don Knotts the other day on his Wikipedia page that they were starting to do that. Uh, yeah, so there's that fun. Well, I guess I've done my hour. I can officially get paid for 1 hour of Forrest Fenn content. We had a great crowd show up tonight to celebrate this auspicious occasion of the end of the 6th year of Forrest Fenn's treasure hunt ending. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what's going to happen. But all I can succinctly say is nothing happened today. Anybody have final comments? Fun and answers. 6 to 9 months after the last lawsuit. I'm going to, I will have a calendar. If somebody comes out and says that one more time after this last lawsuit, I will have a calendar and I will start counting it down. Well, just remember this. If your name's Jack and you squat, it's best to not have your spurs on. Anyway. Nomadic says, maybe they're waiting for Sunday, so they can make the announcement like a NASCAR track announcer. Yeah, sorry. We just could not do the treasure on a Saturday. We had to wait so that we could say, Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. The kids saying that we got stoofed this weekend. Yes. Oh, the hoof. It's 69 months. Oh man, 6, 7. It's 69 months. Waiting for the 7th for legal reasons. Sometimes lucky. He has found gold in the Goodwill bins and even $300 cash in a piece of clothing at Goodwill. Yeah, I gave my, well, I'm not going to tell that story. It's kind of embarrassing to their mother. So I'm going to, Nomadic says go live on Sunday. Yeah, but today was supposed to be the day. There's Lou Lee. Matt Demos was sitting with Forrest on June 6th and was hit with a surprise later that evening. Yeah, I don't think so. I think Matt was there just to carry out the plan. He probably hit send. I think Matt probably hit send on the email. But Packer Jack's companies deleted all the emails, recalled them. Well, Forrest, I don't know if you knew that, but I have a tech company, and one of the things that we specialize is in recalling old email messages and deleting anything that was on your server. Anything you sent to anybody, we can call it back and get it deleted from the internet. Really? That can be done? Oh, yes, we have the tools to do that. Hey, here's some bronze statues. Why don't you do that for me? Well, I'm not doing anything, and I live in Canada. It's cold up here. Well, could you maybe answer my emails for me for a while? It's nothing real serious. I got this stack of drawings that were put together by Polt, I think his name is. None of them are signed, but you might be able to sell them on the black market. Oh, am I giving away too many secrets of Chase Inc.? The one mistake Chase Inc. made is they didn't get me to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Now, they haven't paid me for months now, but I'm free to do this. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do all this kind of stuff. You notice how some of these other YouTubers have such tamed down shows? Well, it's because they signed the NDA. Yeah, I waited on a lawyer. Okay, time for the disclosure. Almost 95% of what you see tonight is just freaking made up. It's not factual. It's not based on any evidence. It's just completely fabricated to the entertainment value of the audience. Any transcript, reproduction, uh, uh, sell out of context, voice recording made from this show is the expressed written consent by me, the show creator. Okay, I kind of fumbled through that, but there's a disclosure. Lily Bell is bragging about her turquoise find. Zozo prefers the glamping. Yeah, when I went to Ben Baree, When I would, man, you almost, you literally, I was seconds away from an Al Bundy moment right there, because I kind of got a little wedgie going right now with these shorts. But you almost had an Al Bundy moment. And if, for you that don't know what an Al Bundy moment is, go watch Married with Children. But anyway, almost had an Al Bundy moment right there. Uh, I'll fix that situation here in a minute after the show's over. Okay, for those who know, Al Bundy used to sit down on the sofa and then he would casually sneak his hands underneath that Velcro, that belt line, to get more comfortable in the chair. Okay, that was too much information. But yeah, I did the old glamping thing when I went to Benbury last time. I'll probably have to do the same thing if I go out there. Oh, yeah. Didn't you say someone put you up to using your the end of the chase site to post false chase information? No, I that was all my stuff. That my end of the chase .wordpress.com was all me. But the people that bought the website end of the chase.com, uh, that's not me. That's not my content. That will solve. Unless, of course, I was supposed to say that that was my solve. I think I do remember one of those letters they sent me from Chase Inc. Something about, well, one of these days somebody's going to use your end of the chase uh, moniker and they're going to put a solve up and you need to endorse it and say it's yours. I might have deleted that email message or maybe Packer Jack did it for me. I can't remember. Uh, I'm making accusations tonight that aren't necessarily true or false. Uh, hey, Justin Posey, have you ever tried to use your facial recognition software to determine whether or not uh, Jack Stoof is lying? Have you tried to use? Hey, Justin, have you ever tried to figure out where you hid your treasure? Uh, MJ says, all you have to do is fake it till you make it. Yep. I don't know how many years I can do that. No, but no, seriously, I mean, I did have the blogspot into the chase.wordpress.com. I didn't realize that somebody actually had end of the chase.com and it and they bought that after the fact. Okay, Larry is given the disclaimer that everything he said or she said tonight is true. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea what to believe anymore. As you can tell by my show tonight, I go from, well, Forrest just did this to send a bunch of people out onto the public lands looking for treasure and dig because he was mad at the people that came to his house and dug through his possessions that were from the state. You know, was there any of that involved in any of this? I don't know, probably not. Could there have been? Oh, maybe. Uh, well, Bill Gorman is saying that Amelia Earhart landed in Alamosa twice. Um, yeah, Amelia Earhart, My Little Darling. There was a story in one of the communications from Forrest Fenn about her, and uh, but I think that was to shape your interest in Wyoming, honestly. Um, and it's interesting that that theme did get continued into the book by John Collins Black, where he writes another story about Amelia Earhart and actually has as one of the treasures in his treasure a letter from Amelia Earhart and a photograph, I believe. A couple of things from Amelia Earhart in his treasure. But it's interesting that John Collins Black felt enough about that to include it. Uh, hey, let's encourage Bill to do a show tonight. Oh, for those who are interested in new music, if you go to my Discord channel, I put together my song in the form of, I put together my poem in the form of a song. Um, and so there's that available. Oh, she was on her way back to Kansas and had to fly back to Alamosa. Interesting. Well, you know more about this than I do. And Jeep Girl Jody is pointing out that Jackie Kennedy is mentioned in all three books as well. And I think that, I see, what is it? Jackie Onassis's brooch. That is a pretty handsome brooch that is included in that treasure. I must admit that that is a pretty handsome piece. Um, George Washington's jelly jar, pretty interesting. Uh, that could harken back to that jelly that his mom used to make, pineapple pies. Uh, uh, I think the jams and jellies for the boys and girls or something like that that she used to make. Uh, the magnifying glass, I think, is one of the things that I think is pretty neat in that treasure chest. Some sports people would really like, I guess, the Jordan rookie card. Um, there's some, I think there's some actual Cassius bitcoins in there. Uh, oh, Elon Musk is going back to the mothership. I didn't know that. Oh wow, cool. I didn't know he was going back to the mothership. Well, I don't know if I can cue that song up, but I'll see if I can. I mean, on my outro here. Uh, Sometimes playing this music doesn't work. I am an amateur at the iambic pentameter. The thrill of the chase, explored at poet's pace. On the cover a clue resides, only one knows what it hides. A little imagination reduces your frustration. The joker in the book deserves a second look. The preface begins the race. Is importance literature the ace? Little girls with coffee cups, old ladies with teacups, Redford and Salinger. What's the answer? Another day goes by, but I still try. First grade remain. Does this have any play? Two old biddies gone to hell. Any clues to ring my bell? The learning curve is sharp. A trout better than carp. Fresh milk from a cow. Does Bessie show me how? A factory for toys, pineapple pie for boys, sorting through the noise, me in the middle, a solution to the riddle. Homemade jams and jellies fill the children's bellies. Maybe I think too hard, the answer's in a graveyard.
stars right away. I will look there today. My boss is dumb. Where is West from? Skippy proudly took his seat. Should I admit defeat? It's a long ride. Was Skippy by your side? Lewis and Clark on horseback. Is it time for the case to crack? Buffalo Cowboys too. Is this where I look for you? 4 days a cadet was nice. I should think about that twice. No war is just for me. Could this lead to destiny? These pages, they are long. They tell a soldier's song. Do not let me waste my turn. The treasure I must earn. Big shoes to flatten the hat. Should I remember that? A rope to tie it all together. I know not whether. One last cup of tea. Am I where I need to be? Father, you look best. Is family more important than the rest? Old books he has a lot. Will this take me to the spot? There is golden more. Solving with poor is the chore. Oh, things matter. Could this be more than shadow? And if the road brings us to the end, only nothing does.
Well, anyway, I turned my poem into a song. Actually, Suno did it. I just copied the poem into Suno, asked it to do a folk song, and that's what you got. So, anyway, hope everybody enjoyed that. That was my poem put to music for the Forrest Fenn thing. Uh, oh, yeah, she ran out of fuel. Uh, Holland Island is well, the reason she ran out of fuel is I think that they were off course on that last flight of Amelia's. Amelia Earhart was so far off course that she actually flew into DB Cooper when he jumped out of the plane. All right, folks, you've been a great crowd. Thanks for coming over. Hope everybody has a good Sunday. And I guess we'll get fun and answers when we get fun and answers. Good night. Bye bye.